It's happening. Guess which Democrat is about to switch parties? This changes everything. Unless you've overdosed on Kool-Aid, it's next to impossible to believe that your chosen political party is 100% correct on every issue out there. For voters, that leads them to align with the party that most closely represents their views on the issues that they care the most about. It's the same for politicians, to an extent. Many politicians make it appear as if they have not only had their fair share of Kool-Aid, but that they've also chosen to bathe in it. Politicians do a great job of towing the party line, and you would imagine that opens up some internal crises of conscience. How can someone completely agree with everything without so much as a furrowed brow? Sometimes, the internal crises become manifested into outright turmoil. What do they do then? As with most crossroads in life, it's time for a lengthy look in the mirror that involves an honest question-and-answer session. If you find that the party of your choice is no longer in agreement with your core principles, it may be time to do the unthinkable. That could be happening soon with this Democratic representative. Right-wing news reports. We've already seen that the governor of West Virginia, Jim Justice, was willing to switch to the Republican side of the aisle, making his announcement at a Trump rally. Now, it's looking like Representative Joe Manchin might do the same. Democrats have already lost the state, both in terms of their wide support for Trump and the loss of the governorship to the Republicans. Governor Justice has now endorsed Rep. Manchin for re-election in 2018. And with a Senate vote next week that might overturn Obamacare, Joe will be put to the test. If Rep. Manchin added his vote to pass the Graham-Cassidy bill, he would instantly be lauded for his work in bringing that bit of Republican-promised legislation closer to the president's desk for approval. Manchin has already demonstrated that he's splitting from the ranks on a popular party line, so it may make sense for him to do some serious soul-searching at this point. Last year, right before Trump's inauguration, Senator Manchin admonished his fellow Democrat, Representative John Lewis from Georgia, who had the nerve to call Trump not a legitimate president. Appearing on NBC, Rep. Lewis said that since he didn't believe that Trump legitimately won the election because Russian hackers or something, he should not be sworn in. "The Russian hackers stole my election" is getting boring, and after months there's zero evidence that Russians took the entitled Hillary win away from her. Rep. Manchin's response was that while he considers Rep. Lewis a friend, he said there is not one iota of credible evidence that Russian hackers had anything to do with the way the election turned out. Rep. Manchin, being from West Virginia, said that Russians had nothing to do with Trump winning by 42% in the state. Years ago, we noticed Rep. Manchin when he was in charge of a push to urge the Attorney General at the time, Eric Holder, to resign. Rep. Manchin criticized the effectiveness of the job he was doing and that decisions have to be made about Holder continuing his employment as AG. While the Democratic Party presents a united front, the reality is that there are a number of chinks in the armor. The party as a whole is fractured. The reasons for that are many, but the insistence from party leadership to paint last year's election as if it was somehow illegitimate is at the top of the list. Add in the fact that party honkos remain obsessed with social justice issues as opposed to offering up real solutions for problems that continue to vex American voters, and it's not too hard to figure out why Democrats continue to have their clocks cleaned in elections. Somewhere along the way, Democratic leaders decided that inspiring divisiveness was the way to warm the hearts of voters. While that strategy may work well for those that already exist in the liberal echo chamber, the rest of the country is completely put off by that. Perhaps Manchin switching teams would be the wake-up call that's needed for party leadership, but we won't count on it. The elitist attitudes that are in control of the party have shown no inclination to adapt from a failing strategy that centers on bogus solutions and nonsensical logic. For Manchin, it sounds like he'll rest easier without having to carry around that burden any longer. Thank you for watching this video. What do you think about this? Share this on Facebook and Twitter along with your comments.